Hi everyone. In last sessions, what we discussed about of the Lambda functions, and already we discussed about of the bin stack. So already we know that what is the main difference between the bin stack and Lambda function also. So as compared to whenever we comparing the Lambda functions and bin stack, so Lambda function is a high performance as compared to the bin stack. So today we will start a very important topic that is called as a we can call as a new services, that is we can call as a AWS EFS. What is the meaning of the EFS? EFS is nothing but we can call as a elastic file storage. So sorry, not storage, elastic file system. So how many storage we have the in the AWS? So mainly we have the storage S3 bucket, EBS and EFS. So already we discussed about of the S3 bucket and EBS. So already we know that what is the purpose of the S3 bucket. So what is the purpose of the S3 bucket? So you can see here the it's a unlimited storage. Then we can store the bucket. We can store the number of objects, right, in the form of the buckets. Then already we know that it's a independent service. Whenever we're talking about of the EBS, it's a block level storage. Already we know that. So it will be maximum capacity of the up to 16 TB. Then attached to the EC2 instances. Whenever suppose I want to create a one VM machine. So at that time, what we have to do? Suppose as per my requirement wise, I want one EBS. Then what we have to do? Then we can attach the EBS. That is called as the elastic block storage. Then you can see here the only EBS volume can attach it. Then only with only EC2 VM at a one time. But my requirement is a different. Suppose I have created the two VM. So in my project, whenever we created the two VM, so at that time I want same file in the both of VM. Then what we have to do? So is it possible to the share the elastic block storage file? No, this is not possible. So we can attach only one EBS volume at a one instances. But I want to connect multiple instances. Then what we have to do? We have to go with EFS. You can see here the only EBS volume can be attached with only EC2 VM at a one time. My requirement is a different, so I want attach the EBS volume for the multiple machines. Then what we have to do? So we have to go with elastic file system. So what is the purpose of the elastic file system? So EFS stands for the elastic file system, and it's provide the scalable file storage for the EC2 instances. This is my, you can see here, this is my one EC2 instances, this is my another EC2 instances. Then I want same file in this EC2 VM, I want same file in the EC2 VM. Then what we have to do? So we have to create the EFS, that's called as a, we can say called as a elastic file system. Then we can share the file in both of VM. Suppose I want share this file in this VM, then I want uh, share this file in this VM. Then what we have to do? We can share it. You can see here the share the file system. Then multiple EC2 instances can access EFS at a one time. Suppose I'm having of more than the two VM. Then I want to share my file. Then what we have to do? We have to go with EFS. Suppose I'm having of five machines in my project. Then what we have to do? We have to create the one elastic file system. Then these elastic file systems we can share it across the VM. Suppose we have the 10 machine. Then what we have to do? We have to same thing. We have to go with EFS. Then suppose, but what is the purpose of this file system? Suppose I want same file in this both of the EC2 instances. Whatever we have the instances, same file I want in my across the all VM. Then what we have to do? We have to do the here EFSS. EFSS is nothing but whenever we search here, you can see here the you can see here the EFS. EFS is nothing but whenever we search here the EFS. then you can see the manage file storage for the EC2. What is the meaning of the EC2? Already we know that. So what is the EC2? It's, we can say, called the virtual machines. So every project we require the EC2 instances, and already we completed 4 sessions on the EC2 instances, and already we covered the each and every point in the EC2 instance. You can see here the top features for this EFS, file system and access point. Suppose we have the one EFS file, then this EFS file I want to share with my across the EC2 VM. Then what we have to do? We have to go with EFS. You can see here the Amazon Elastic File System. It will be scalable, elastic, cloud native NFS file system. So what is the meaning of the NFS? So we can say call as a native file systems. So you can see here the already we have the one video also which is provided from the AWS side. You can see here the EFS, then we have the access point. What is the meaning of the access point? Access point is nothing but we can say call it is a one point access. By using of the access point we can access our files across the EC2. Yeah. So I'm having a in my project I have the 4 machines and I want to share the same file in the 4 machines. Then what we have to do? Then we have to create the elastic file system. So at that time there is a no need to the separate file upload in this VM, in this VM, in this VM. So we have the one services in the AWS account, then we can create the elastic file systems and we can share our file, whatever we have the data I want to share same thing data into the another VM, then we can share it. So before going to the labs, here we have the, you can see here the file system, access system, then elastic file system. So we have to do the some operations, then we can create the EFS. So whenever we creating the EFS, so it's a simple, but whenever we are going with EC2 instances, so it is a some difficult. So we have to create the one EC2 instances, then we have to mount our EFS file. So what is the mount? Mount is nothing but you can see here the, suppose here I have created one EC2 instances and I have created the one file. This file I want mount in this EC2 instances. Then what we have to do? So we have to run some command. Then we can mount this file into this EC2 instances. Then once we mount, then we have to same perform the operation on this EC2 VM. Then once we mount it, then we can create the whatever we have the requirement in the our project. Then we can create the file systems in the both of EC2 instances, and we can share the file in the both of the EC2 instances. So what is the purpose of the mount? Mount is nothing but whatever we created the files which is created from the AWS side, we can say call as a, it's a EFS uh, services. Once we created this file, then we have to mount in this EC2 instances, then we have to mount this file into the EC2 instances. Once we mount it, then we can run the command whatever we want to create the files, whatever we want to create the data. Once we created the data, we can see the across the whatever we have the EC2 instances, we can see in that. So you can see here the, so I am going to create a one file system here. You can see here this is the optional. So if you want to add the your file name, then you can add it, otherwise you can leave it. Then you can see here the, it's a VPC. What is the purpose of the VPC? So it's a virtual private cloud. So what is the meaning of the virtual private cloud? So no one can access my network, so that's why we are using here the VPC. But if we have the public network, then what will be happen? Then at that time everyone can access my file, everyone can access my EC2 instances. So we will see a separate session for the VPC. So right now you can see here it's a default selected. If you want to add the file name here, you can add it. So just I'm creating here the demo 10. you can see here the value. You can see here that each and everything here: settings, recommended setting, then value, then editable after creation. If you want to create it, then you can edit it. So you can see here the encryption already enabled. Suppose I want to decrypt this file, then it is not possible. We cannot edit it because it's an encryption already. So we cannot decrypt it, this data. Then you if you want to add the customize the file here, you can click it and you can select it regional one, because this is the regional way. Suppose I'm creating this Asia specific, then we have to create the same EC2 instances in this region. Otherwise, we can say further, we cannot mount the file in our EC2 instance, because we created already this file system in the Asia specific, and I'm using at that time Mumbai data center. At that time, what will be happen? At that time, we can say called as a we cannot mount our EFS file in our EC2 instances, because we are creating the EC2 instances in our Mumbai region. So that's why we make sure we have to select the same region. So you can see here the create a file system here. So I'm creating one here, 01. Once we created, we have the options also is here, customize and create a file system. So I have created the one file systems here. Then whatever we created the file system, so make sure we have to note it. We have to note this file system ID, because we want to use uh, this file system ID for the mounting purpose. So we have the command, we have to add this file system ID in while we mounting the file in the EC2 instances. At that time we have to use it. So make sure we have to notate this down. So otherwise we cannot mount our file in the EC2 instances. So you can see, make sure we have to note it. Otherwise, we cannot mount our file in the EC2 instances. You can see here the my file name here. Then you can see here the encrypted, then total size, then size in standard. So whatever we have the size here, you can see. Then file system state, it's available. Then availability zone also is regional. Then you can see here the replication override protection also is there. Then if you want to backup for the this file, then you can backup. Then data sync also, AWS transfers also. Then we have the documentation parts also here. So if you want to backup this file, then you can backup it, because it will be helpful for the, so whatever we created the data. So at that time, suppose due to some reason our AWS region is failed, then we can take the backup this file, then we can use the this file in our another region. So backup is nothing but, so we have the backup plan for the our resources whatever we created the in our AWS. So because otherwise project suppose we if we don't have any backup options in our project, then what will be happen? That time we can say called the user cannot access our application. Due to some region, due to some sorry due to some reason, our services is not working properly at particular of the region. Then what we have to do, we have to change the region. So at that time we can say called as a, it's a disaster recovery, because sometimes, so every time we cannot change the region. So I have created region, I suppose I have created one service in this region, then we cannot create like this in second services in another region. If it is okay, if we require in our project as per requirement wise, we have to work it. So you can we have the number of regions. You can see here the as per uh, our availability zone wise, data center wise, we have to select it. So just I have uh, testing purpose. You can see here the just we selected here the Singapore. If you want to change it, you can change it. So for bin practices, you can change the different regions, while then you can create the data. But make sure whatever we are using the region, then we have to noted that region. Otherwise, I'm having of one services in this region and I'm having of another service in this region. Then can we coordinate with these both of region? No, we cannot coordinate. So make sure whatever we are creating the data, so make sure we have to note the region also. So you can see here that I have created one EFS file here. Then once we created elastic file systems, then we have to go with our EC2 instances. First step, what what we did here, so create a EFS in our AWS account. Then we noted the file system ID. Then second step, what we have to do here, we have to create the one EC2 instances. So I'm going to launch here the EC2 instances here. So I'm creating the demo 0. You can put anything here. So EFS. So you can see called as a demo EFS. Then I'm selecting here the Amazon Linux here. Then you can see here the AMI. Already we know that. Then I'm selecting here the T3 micro. Then I'm selecting my existing key pair here. Then I'm changing the security group here. Then I'm selecting here the security group as a by default VPC. Make sure while we creating of both of these two instances, we have to select the same firewall system here. Suppose I have selected the different in first VPC, sorry, not VPC, in EC2 instances. Then I'm creating the sec, second EC2 instances. At that time, I have selected the different VPC. Then what will be happen here? We cannot coordinate with our EC2 instances. So make sure I'm selecting here the by default here. So I'm going to launch here the EC2 instances. Once we launch here the EC2 instances, then we can create another EC2 instances here. So I'm going to create another EC2 instances here because I want to share my EFS file in both of the EC2 instances. That's why I'm creating here the another EC2 instances, EFS demo 02. This is mine. Otherwise, you can see like this demo EFS 02. Then I'm selecting same thing here, TT3 micro here. Then I'm selecting here the key pair also here for the login purpose. Then I'm selecting here the security group, existing security group, which is by default we selected earlier in our first EC2 instances. Then I'm selecting here the launch instances. Once we launch the instances, then what we have to do, we have to open this group DevOps because we have the uh, .pem file here. So that's why I'm opening here the git bash here for the connecting the my machines. So I want to connect my machines. Then what we have to do here, already we know that how we can connect with our machines here. So let me refresh this one. So here you can see here the two running machines here, one. This is the terminated already. So if you want to change the filter here, you can change it here. So successfully we created the two EC2 instances. So I'm selecting here the first EC2 instances. Then I'm selecting here the some security group here. What we have to do here, so we have to change the security group here. So we have to change the inbound rule. So what is the inbound rule here? Already we know that i'm I have to allow the incoming traffic whatever we have, and outgoing traffic, it by default we know that if we selected the inbound rule here. You can see here the already I use the EC2 instances, this SSH and all traffic. So NFS, sorry, it's a by default. So you can see here the NFS and SSH. So I'm selecting here the edit inbound rule here. Then I'm deleting both of here. So first time we created, we can see like this one. So we have to what we have done here. So you can see here the I have selected these EC2 instances. Then we have to navigate to the security group. Then we have to click on the security group. Once we selected click on the security group here, we have to change the edit inbound rule here. So what is the inbound rule here? So we have to allow the traffic permission. So whatever we created the machine, so we have the outbound rules also here, but we have to edit here the inbound rule here. So just time you can see the by default it's a all traffic. So when I click on the add rule here, you can see here the NFS. Already we know that. What is the purpose of the NFS? NFS is nothing but native uh, file system. So enable the security group inbound rule with NFS protocol. So what we are doing here, the I'm selecting here the NFS protocol. Once we selected the NFS protocol, you can see here the by default port range is a 2049, which is already decided from the AWS side. So it's nothing but we can say call it a port range, which is default. We cannot change it here. So I'm selecting here the anywhere IP4 here. You can see here the already we know that. So we will discuss later on IP4, IP6 and VPC. So just leave it. So you can see here the rule with source of 000. So what is the meaning of this one? So 0.0.0 is nothing but so we can say call it the it's a IP4. Whenever we selected here the IP6 here, but right now we cannot see anything here. So we will discuss later on because now IP4 everyone is using. So we have the limitations. We have the once we cross that limit, all whatever we have the networks in the market. So once we cross that systems, then we are starting at that time using of the IP6. So we will discuss later on in the deeper. So you can see the so if you want to add the any description, it's optional. So just I have added the one rule which is called as the NFS. Then after that we have to add another thing here. So what we have to do here, we have to add the SH. What is the meaning of the SH? Already we know that. So I want to connect with my Linux machine. Then what we have to do here, we have to select the SH here. You can see here the port range is the 22. Then you can see here the anywhere IP4. Then I have selected here the both of inbound rules here. So NFS and SH. Once we selected the NFS and SH, then we have to navigate to our machines here. So where we are added the inbound rule here, we are added the inbound rule in the my first EC2 instances. Then we have to connect with my machines. Then already we know that. So we have to use the SH client because we are using here the git bash here. So I'm selecting here the git bash here. Then I have entered. Yes, I want to connect with my machines. You can see here the connect my machine successfully. Okay, good. Here once we added here, then what we have to do here? So already we know that once we log in the EC2 instances, install the NFS client. So we log in the successfully here. Then what we have to do here? Second step. Once we connected the machine, then what we have the second step here? We have to install the NFS client. What is the NFS meaning? So native file system. So we have to install the NFS client. Already we know that what is the how to install our uh, whatever we have. I want to install in my Linux machine. Then already we discussed in our Linux sessions. So what we have to do here? So we have to do here the sudo, which is we can say called as super doing operations. Then yum, then install. So I will provide each and every steps. Don't worry about this one. So we have to sudo yum install, then hyphen y Amazon EFS, then ut. This is my client. So we have to install the NFS client. Once we it will be take some time because we are installing the NFS client. So I think we should wait for some time here. Once we install the our NFS client, then what we have to do here? So we have to create one folder here because you want to mount the NFS, because already we know that how to mount this NFS. So we have to create a one folder. So already we know that how to create the folder. So I can see here the sudo mkdir. So super doing operations, make directory. Then I'm saying here the EFS directory. So already we know that how to create the folder. So I have created the folder. You can see here the ls. What is the meaning of the ls? It's a list. So I have created the one directory here. Once, what is the purpose of this folder? Because whatever we created the folder, that folder we want to mount to the EFS. So this folder I want mount. Where we want to mount? In the our EC2 instances. So because already we discussed here, so whatever we created the file system, that file system we have to mount. So I have created the one folder here. So we created the one folder. So after that you want to mount the EFS. So what we have to do here, these files I want to mount, then we have to perform the another command. Then we can say call as a sudo, which what is the purpose of the sudo, what is the meaning of the sudo, which we can say call as a super doing operations. Then we have to say the here mount this my particular file, whatever we have the folder files. Okay, you can see here the, so already we noted down the my file system id. So what we have to do here, super doing operation, then mount, then hyphen t. You can see here the EFS. What is the EFS? EFS is nothing but elastic file system. So I want to this file system id, and I want to where we want to mount this one. So we are using a EFS directory already we created. So I'm mounting this file. You can see here that it will be take time. If we are not decided the, if we are not added the inbound role here, then can we mount this one? No, we cannot mount it. So we can see the error in that, because we have to allow the inbound role, then we can mount the our EFS file in our EC2 instances. Otherwise we cannot mount it. So you can see here that I cannot see any kind of error here. So what we have to do here, so I want to change the directory. Right now where we are in EC2 user. So I want to in this directory. So let me, so cd, then we can say call it the EFS directory. So just okay. So right now where we are in the, so I'm clearing this one. So right now where we are in the EFS directory, which is already created. So I want to create a 2 to 3 files here in that. So how to create the files in the our directory? Already we know that touch command. By using of the touch command, what we have to do, we have to create the one file. So I want to create the two file. Suppose I'm saying here the super doing operations. Okay, then just I'm saying here the touch f1 dot txt. So this is my another file, first file f1.txt, test.txt. Then so just I want to run the my file is created or not in this directory. Yes, successfully we created the file in this directory. If you want to add the multiple files in this directory, then we can add it. So as per your requirement wise we can add it. So then after that what we have to do here, we have to create another EC2 instances. Already we created the another EC2 instances, just we have to do the some operations in that. So what we are going to here, we are creating the another command line. So I'm creating here the another git bash here. So after that we have to navigate to this EC2 instances here. After that I'm creating the one EC2 instances running second. So here I'm selecting here the demo EFS02. Then what we have to do here, do we need to the change anything in that inbound tool here? No, because we already added in first our EC2 instances. Then it will be default added for the second EC2 instances. So what we have to do here, just we have to click on this EC2 instances, then just we have to connect with our machines. So already we know that, just we have to copy this command, then we have to paste it. Make sure it will be new for the git bash, because otherwise if we are merging in that, so we cannot open it, we cannot share it. Already we running the one machines in our one git bash. So I'm creating the another machines here, so I'm running the another git bash here. So just yes, I want to connect my second machine. Yes, successfully we connected our EC2 EC2 instances, which is we already created the second machines and we successfully connected by using of the SH client. Then what we have to do here, we have to do the same thing. First, what was the first step? So once we log in the EC2 instances, then we have to install the NFS client. So what we can do here, so successfully we log in our EC2 instances, then we have to do the same operations here, sudo yum install. So for doing operations here, then install, then EFS utils. So what is the utils? It's a NFS client. So I'm installing the NFS client in my second EC2 instances. Then what we have to do here, we have to create the folder. What was the previous step? Same thing for the first machine. So we have to create the folder here. What was the folder name there? So already we know that sudo mkdir EFS directory. We have to do the same operations here. So just I'm clearing this one. Then what we have to do here? So we have to copy the my previous file system ID and we have to mount this file system into the EC2 instances. But here we created the second EC2 instances and we are mounting this is EFS file in our second EC2 instances. So we are mounting the in another EC2 instances. Then once we mount this file system, then what we have to do here? So we have to change the directory. What was the operations? So we have to cd, we have to enter the cd EFS directory. Right now where we are in the EC2 users. So just I have changed the directory here. Then I am creating the one. You can see here the successfully we are created the one directory here. Just I'm checking here. Do we have any file in the EC2 instances? No, we are not created yet. But I want to check whatever we created the file system in my first EC2 instances. Once we mounted the NFS, then can we see this? These are the files in our second EC2 instances. Then what we have to do here? We have to perform the ls. So what is the meaning of the ls? It's a list command. You can see here the what was the file name, f1.txt test.txt. So this is my second EC2 instances. You can see here the first EC2 instances. So successfully we shared our file system here. You can see here that this is my first EC2 instances. This is my second file system. So you can see whatever we created the file system in my first EC2 instances, those files we can see in the our second EC2 instances. I want to create the another file system here. Suppose what this is my second. You can see here the so ls command, by using of the ls command, you can see here the we created successfully. So I am clearing this one. You can see here the so I want to check this whatever we created the files can we see or not in this EC2 instance. Then what we have to do here, we have to create the sudo then touch command then demo.txt. So I'm creating the another file here. You can see here the we created the file. You can see here the demo.txt, f1.txt, test.txt. You can see here that we have to same thing here. You can see here the demo.txt, f1.txt, test.txt. Whatever we created the file system, then we can share these files in our whatever we have the EC2 instances in our AWS account. In my project, we have the 10 EC2 instances. Then what we have to do here, we have to same thing in our 10 EC2 instances. Just whatever we created the file system, we have to mount that file system in our EC2 instances. Once we mount it, then we can add the file system or delete the file. Whatever we perform the operations in the EC2, that particular of the file system, then we can see all those updated files in our all EC2 instances. So what is the purpose of the EFS? EFS is nothing but we can say called as a elastic file system. We can say called as a it's a shared file system. So whatever we created the files, whatever we created the data, those data I want to across our EC2 instances. So how many EC2 instances? Multiple EC2 instances in our AWS account. Then we can mount those EFS file in our EC2 instances and we can share the data by using of the EFS. By using of the EFS, we can share the data to the EC2 instances to EC2 instances. So we can say called as a EFS. What is the purpose of the EFS? EFS is nothing but elastic file system. So it's a shared file system. But here make sure if we created the EC2 instances in our particular the specific region, then we have to create the same another EC2 instances for that particular the region, and make sure we have to select the proper network system, proper file system, firewall system. Otherwise, if we selected the different firewall system, then we cannot share the file system in our EC2 instances. Also make sure we have to add the uh, inbound rule also. If we are for if while we creating the I'm forgetting the inbound rule, then what will be happen here, we can install the NFS client software in our EC2 instances, but we cannot mount the file because we are not allowing other we are not allowing of the incoming traffic. So we cannot install also client software also because we are not allowing the anything in that. So we are allowing the data. So NFS, what is the already we added the NFS in our inbound rule here there. So that's why we are allowed to the install in our EC2 instances. Otherwise we are not allowing to the NFS client in our EC2 instances. So if we deleted the file, then we can see the same file, whatever we have the updated file, those file we can see the all EC2 instances. But make sure uh, we have to make the proper data while we creating the EFS, then while we creating the EC2 instances, and if we are forget the file system ID, then what we have to do here, we have to go with same operations here. Suppose we forget first time to copy the file system, then what we have to do here, just we have to click on the same services here. You can see the file system ID here. If we forget the file system ID also, we cannot mount our NFS file EFS file system in our EC2 instances. So while we mounting that file system, then we require the file system ID. Once we mount it, then all files will be available for the all EC2 instances because we shared the all file system to the all EC2 instances as per my requirement wise. my requirement is I want to share the two files. I want to share the one file system to EC2 instances. Then what we have to do here? We have to go with EFS. But in that my AWS account we have the three EC2 instances. Then what we have to do here? So we have to create the same data for the EC2 same data for the two EC2 instances, and for the third EC2 instances just we have to make sure the delete the inbound rule. Otherwise we are not installing the NFS. So if we are not install the NFS of client software, then we cannot see the, you can see here suppose I am creating the another EC2 instances here. There is no need to the delete the inbound rule also. Otherwise all inbound rules will be deleted from the EC2 instances. You can see here that I am creating another EC2 instances here, demo 03 machines. So you can see here that I'm selecting the same parameters here. So I'm selecting here the same key pair also here. I'm selecting same firewall here. So default, then I'm selecting here each and everything same parameter. Once we created one EC2 instances here, you just we have to go in instances, then we have to click on the this. You can see here the in the security group, we can see the inbound rule also here. You can see here the inbound rules here by default. But my requirement is I want shared only file in the, just a minute, let me, I want shared the file system in only these two EC2 instances. Then what we have to do here, suppose I'm connecting my EC2 instances here. This is my third EC2 instance. So I'm going in this folder. I'm creating git bash here. So once we connected with our machines here, you can see here the it will okay. So you can see here the, so yes, I want to connect with my machines. Yes, you can see here the ls command. Can we see anything in that here? No, we cannot see anything in that because we are not installed the NFS client and we are not mounted the file in our EC2 instances. That's why we cannot see the folder and whatever we have the shared file system data we cannot see in the third EC2 instances. If we are install the NFS client, if we are mount the file system in our EC2 instances, then we can see the data. Otherwise we cannot see the data. As per your requirement wise, we can select it, we can deselect it. So it depends on you. So this is the EFS. So what is the EFS? EFS is nothing but elastic file system. So we have the three types of the storage. One is a S3 bucket, then EBS, and we can also call it the EFS. So what is the EFS? EFS is nothing but elastic file system. So what is the purpose of S3 bucket? It's a simple storage service and it's unlimited storage. So whatever we want to store in our in the S3 bucket, we can store it. I want to store my images, I want to store my videos, I want to store my application backup, then we can use at that time S3 bucket. So what is the EBS? EBS is nothing but, so we can create the one elastic block storage, then we can attach the these EBS to the our EC2 instances, but this is not shared the EBS, so we cannot share the EBS to the another EC2 instances. But I want my requirement is a different here. Whatever we created the data, I want to share those data to another EC2 instance. Then what we have to do here, we have to go with EFS. So this is our elastic file system. I think that's it for the EFS. Make sure whatever we create the services in our AWS account, then we have to delete it. You can see here the, so if we are directly navigate to the EFS, then we cannot directly delete it because we use this EFS file in our EC2 instances. First, we have to delete the dependent data, then we have to delete the EFS. So, what is the dependent data here? We use the EFS file in our EC2 instances. Make sure we have to delete this one first, otherwise we cannot delete our EFS. So, first we will delete the EC2 instances, then we will delete the EFS. So I think that's it for today. So make sure delete all the file system. Uh, Make sure whatever we have the created the EC2 instances, we have to delete it, and make sure we delete the all services whatever we created in our AWS. So I'm deleting all those EC2 instances. Then we can delete our EFS. So successfully we deleted these EC2 instances machines. You can see here I'm deleting the EFS file system also. Just we have to copy this EFS file ID here. Once we copy this one, then we can delete it successfully. You can see here the delete mount target for the file system. So we are deleting the mount target for file system. If we are trying to direct deleting the file system, then we cannot delete it because we use this file system in our EC2 instances. So I think that's it for EFS. So we will start new services in our next session. Okay, thank you guys.